Hey everyone, buckle up for a roller coaster of emotions as we dive into an intense personal story shared by someone who faced unexpected betrayal. Get ready to unravel the twists and turns of relationships, trust, and friendship as we explore this gripping tale. Original. Update 1. You wonderful motherfuckers. Between the comments to both posts and my inbox, I have an immense collection of personalized pep talks, which I am referring to whenever I feel down, admittedly, a lot these days. I got advice, stories from all sorts of people, married, single, old, young. Wow. I never thought the internet would bring me this level of support. I just want you guys to know that by just typing up some comments, you have made a very real difference in someone's life. Gotta say, it feels a little strange receiving 6 Reddit gold and making it to /arsh best of just for sharing the worst day of my life. Haha. I got a lot of messages urging me to join Red Pill. This experience has soured my view of Alexis. Not women in general. I got some messages saying I write too well, and this is obviously made up. I have 2 words for you. I wish. A clarification on the last update. I wasn't clear about what I see when I walked in. They weren't literally fucking. They were just sitting on the couch with a deer in headlights look that was incredibly incriminating, and they both went quiet. It was just obviously not a hey, guess who dropped by situation. Anyways, on to the update. I've been extremely busy with the semester ending, and I took the majority's advice to bury my head in work. I've spent a lot of time at the library because Alexis never goes there. In the process of posting the last update, I realized how dumb it was that I hadn't contacted Derek and Brooke with my side. I screenshotted the text from the cool neighbor Will. Side note, all names have been changed except Mark because fuck you, Mark. Within the minute, Derek was blowing up my phone with calls and texts that made it very apparent he didn't know anything. At the same time, Alexis was sending texts begging me to meet up with her. I was feeling miserable and sent back a single text to Derek saying I wasn't feeling up to talking, then put my phone away for the night. In the morning, I got a text saying to meet him at my favorite restaurant for dinner and drinks on him, assuring me that no one would be there, not even Brooke. I haven't had any appetite since everything went down, but the offer meant a lot, and I really did want to see him, so I decided to go after classes. I got to the restaurant first, and I had my heart in my throat, worrying that Alexis would somehow be there, but she wasn't. Derek came up to me and gave me a big hug and opened with, "Dude, what the fuck?" So here's where shit gets a bit crazy and dramatic. A lot of you suggested that Brooke might side with Alexis or had been covering up for her the whole time. I wasn't so sure, because while she is closer to Alexis, her and I have been friends for a bit longer. According to Derek, as soon as he told Brooke, she was absolutely furious. In his words, I sort of wanted to bitch Alexis out, but Brooke took care of that, and then some. Remember how I said Alexis came from a conservative small town? Her parents had no idea that we were living together, and she constantly stressed that they couldn't know or they'd cut her off financially. They liked me enough to be polite, but they were constantly worried a relationship would distract her from school and didn't want her getting pregnant or whatever. Derek said that Brooke demanded Alexis pack her things and find a new place, or she'd call up her parents and tell them everything. Derek told me that later that night, Alexis was sitting in the living room, hugging a sweater I'd left behind, and wailing at the top of her lungs that her life was over when Brooke yelled from her bedroom, "Well, maybe you shouldn't have fucked Mark then." Imagining that moment was kind of funny. Brooke's always been a very no-nonsense girl with a hot temper, but I definitely didn't expect this. It was extremely touching that she took the cheating that seriously. During that dinner, all my fears that I'd lost my friends were completely washed away, and I was able to choke down a few pieces of sushi. When we left dinner, Derek promised to let me know when Alexis was gone so I could move back in. I declined his offer because 1, even if she does move out, everything in that apartment reminds me of her, including Derek and Brooke. 2, Alexis and Mark probably fucked in my room, so I really don't want to sleep in it. 3, in the current emotional state I'm in, I don't want to be third-wheeling a happy couple, even though I'm sure they'd be considerate. He understood my points, but said to let him know if I changed my mind, because Brooke and Alex's friendship seems to be pretty over. This week has been pretty uneventful, but I keep having to dodge Alexis. Luckily, I'm in an undergraduate program that only has 60 students, so we have a lot of our classes together. I asked 2 friends to keep an eye out for her after giving them a spark notes of the story, and started showing up to class at the last minute. As far as I know, she only waited outside of one of my classes. I got a text saying, "Bitch has been spotted in front of classroom. Waterworks in progress. Proceed with caution." I ended up skipping the class because I didn't know if she was going to leave, and I really didn't want to risk it. Later that night, she sent me a really long Facebook message explaining everything from the beginning, and it sort of made me sick to read. I contemplating not reading it, but once I opened it, I just had to. She said that he'd been flirty with her in the halls. As I mentioned before, he would say inappropriate shit to both girls, and she tried to be friendly back, but it must have come off as flirting because he kissed her mid-sentence one day. She said she felt guilty that she led him on, and that guilt prevented her from shooting him down in future advances because she felt like it was her fault it happened, and she has trouble saying no. She said they'd only slept together 3 times and she hated it. He had pushed her into it. Not rape, but IDK. I never said yes either. And she was going to end it during the conversation I walked in on. She said she understood if I needed some time and some space, but that she'd do absolutely anything to make it right, and would spend the rest of her life making it up to me by treating me like a king. I'd never have to cook, clean, or do my laundry again. Give me full access to her phone and passwords. She even suggested we install Life 360, an app that allows you to track someone's location through their phone, so I would know where she is at all times. Cut off all contact with Mark and all her male friends. Just for good measure, I guess. Make up sex whenever I wanted. Yeah, that sounds like a healthy relationship, right? I didn't answer. I kind of wanted to keep her on Facebook and watch the shit show unfold. She was posting dramatic statuses and song lyrics about mistakes, forgiveness, and some from our song. But I know how I am. I don't want to compulsively check her page or go through old photos. So I blocked her. Derek sent me a text a few hours later saying, "She's crying and screaming about you blocking her, LOL." In happier news, the family I'm staying with is fantastic. I felt a little guilty about taking up their space, electricity, etc., so I offered to put down rent and pay for some bills. I am unemployed, but my family gives me a decent allowance for rent and food, but they declined. The dad said, "First month's free. If you need more time here, then we'll talk about it," and winked. My friend was telling me that they have hosted his and his sister's troubled friends, so it wasn't a big deal. Still, I'm unbelievably grateful. As for Will, awesome neighbor, I called him to thank him for everything. I wasn't up to inviting him for dinner just yet, but I will. He apologized profusely. He says he can't stand Mark, not just for what he did with Alexis, but various other things that I won't go into. He told me that Mark has been unusually quiet the past few days, and told another one of the guys that he had gotten dumped. Whatever. I don't want to think about it. So that's really all I have for you guys. I'm still going to be friends with Derek and Brooke, but I'm going to limit my contact with them because they remind me of Alexis so much. I sent Brooke a message thanking her for kicking Alexis out, and she said she'd do it regardless of whether or not I move back in. She's going to give me a heads up on when Alexis is gone, so I can get the rest of my things. In the meantime, I'm spending a lot of time studying, applying to grad schools, and hanging out with the guy I'm living with. Earlier this week, I posted onto my university's Facebook group, searching for roommates for next semester, and I already have a few replies. I'm going to wait until after finals to tell my parents about the situation, because my mom asks a million questions about everything, and I'm not in the mood to answer them. Again, thank you for all the messages. I did not expect this level of attention, and while it has made me a bit paranoid, someone will recognize the story from the details. Fuck it, I needed the support. I fucking love you guys. We hope today's deep dive into this personal story sheds some light on the complexities of relationships and trust. If you've ever found yourself in a similar predicament, remember, you're not alone, and support is out there. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more relatable stories.